From the deep dark reaches of Star Trek Online comes Nikodas and Grebog with another episode of Fleet Action Report.
Hello, and welcome to Fleet Action Report, the show where we don't just... I got all tongue-tied. Let me try that again. Hello, and welcome to Fleet Action Report, the show where we don't just play the game, but we teach you how to play the game. I'm Nikodas.
I'm Grebog, still. And this is episode 113, Putting Keybinds to Use. Yes. So how has your week been, and what have you been up to, Nikodas?
Destiny. It's all about destiny.
And what's in your destiny?
I have no idea why I did it. I used to play Destiny when it first came out, and I even played around with Destiny 2 for the first year or so that it was out. And then I just kind of fell off that bandwagon. But the past couple weeks, I don't know. I saw something online and I was like, oh, I should probably play that. And I did. And I've been playing it pretty much exclusively, except for a little time on STO over the last week. It's been interesting. The new storyline. I mean, I'm lost. I've been out of it for so long. I really have no idea what's going on storyline wise. Apparently, there's a demonic queen named Savathun that has come out of retirement, and we are trying to stop her from taking our source of power away from us and basically destroying the last of humanity. But there's a bunch in between when I last played and now where, yeah, I'm just lost. Like, apparently Savathun took control of a warlock named Osiris at one point, but I thought Osiris was a good guy, and I don't know when that possession took place or why she's not currently possessing Osiris. Like, there's a whole thing there. And apparently the Drifter has kind of taken over for Cade 6, but not really. So the leadership of the Guardians is still down by one person, sort of, kind of. I mean, there's a lot that I still need to pick apart, but since I've only been playing for about the last 2 weeks and I've already hit the level cap, the soft level cap, not the hard level cap, I think I'm doing pretty good. It's fun. It's been interesting. They have some new content in there that makes earning things a lot easier than what it used to be. For example, their raids, which is typically what you do to go in and get your highest level gear, like in most MMOs. You have to have a set fire team for those, and that's fine. But they've added in some alternatives to gearing that don't require a fire team. Like, matchmaking is more prevalent now than what it used to be. And I find that very cool for me because I don't know really anybody who plays the game. So I can't put together a team of 3 to 6 people and go do stuff. So it's easy for me now just to click a button. It pumps me into a team with random people, and off we go. Now, I still can't do the raids, and that's fine, but like the Nightfalls, which are the hardest version of their dungeons, kind of like the elite dungeons in WoW, that's to a certain point now, that's matching, and you need to run Lightfalls to get exotic gear. So that's one of the ways that I can gear up now. That's easier than it used to be. So I've been having a lot of fun with it, but I still got to pick apart a lot of the lore and try to catch up on what I've missed. But other than that, I've been on STO a little bit, still working on some newer characters. I have not played my new character challenge. I'm going to have to do that a little bit this week because, well, we'll get to that later. But that's it for me. What about you, Grebog? How's your week been?
I killed all my players in D&D because, that's the DM I am. Oh wait, no, I did not do any of that. I put an interesting challenge before them to go against someone that would kill them, but they preferentially would prefer to not kill the opponent. Because the opponent was under maybe some cursed effects that was causing them to want to be evil. did a misguided thing, and the person's not bad normally. It's just their misguided cursed item may have ventured down a darker path. But
I gotta
so
say, I gotta say, I just gotta break in. I'm sorry, I know it's your portion, but I gotta break in here. That was a very unique challenge in D&D because we had to think tactically. Instead of just going in and hacking this thing to pieces, we didn't want to kill him. So we had to think tactically. How do we separate him from the artifact that was causing the problem? So we had to do things like disarm and whatnot. And then, we had to pick it up before he got it. And it became this tactical, thoughtful battle instead of just a hack and slash thing. And I actually really enjoyed that. And my character got to shine a little bit. So anyway, sorry, go on.
and that's one of the reasons why I like to change challenges up for my players, because I anyone can go create an encounter that's hack and slash. Just saying. I mean, and to me, that kind of gets it's the normal thing is to go in hack slash kill, you win. Well, why? I like to make things different, add flavor. You know, that's just the way I kind of DM. I like to throw weird challenges at my players to see how they can handle them. Let's see. Outside of throwing weird challenges at my players, I also, let's see, did some WoW raiding. We are working on heroic, faded raids. I mean, it's what we got until the end of the expansion. So, yeah. Which it drops decent gear. I mean, 291 eye level. You can get better if you do the Mythic Plus stuff and can get plus 15s done in a week. But yeah. Um, and I've been doing that on two different DKs. An Alliance one, Dark Iron Dwarf, and a High Mountain Tauren. So the High Mountain Tauren has been my main for a long time. So I mean, he originally was just a standard Tauren. I then did change him to a High Mountain once upon a time. So I mean, he's been my main for quite a while. So it's fascinating to me that I've leveled up a Dark Iron Dwarf and have him within. They're like not even 6 eye levels apart now between the two. Um, and I'm just like going. I just started the other guy about a month ago, maybe. Basically, he missed the first week of faded raids because I was still leveling and gearing, and after that, I was able to start going into faded raids. Outside of that, let me think. I found a train dispatching game that's. I know I'm weird, a nerd. I like trains and stuff. So there's something I saw, rail route. And essentially you make connections. You have much like a dispatcher panel, and you are the dispatcher routing trains here, there, and everywhere. You can automate some of it as you go, but it's been a weird. It reminds me of some of the puzzle games some people have tried to create. So this being with trains and routing them from one town to another. But I know that game is definitely not for everybody because some people will find it boring. I'm weird and find the complexity of micromanage, getting the route set up so that way you can basically keep trains running all the time and not running into each other. Interesting. But yeah, that's I think most of my week. If there's been other things I've forgotten, and I'm sorry.
All right. Well, this week in STO, we have quite a few things. Not anything crazy, but a few things here. So they did a very interesting 10 forward weekly, and the takeaway from that was we are going to be getting some BOF upgrade tokens soon. And I did that with quotes, even though you guys can't see the air quotes. But soon, which could be any time from tomorrow to a year from tomorrow. Who knows? This upgrade token will grant all racial traits that they already have to the superior version unless there was never a superior version of that trait. So if you have, for example, a Romulan officer who has Romulan operative, that will be upgraded to superior Romulan operative. And it gives them a kit frame slot, one device slot, and one ground trait slot, which you can plug things into those that you get from missions or quests or lockboxes or whatever. So it's going to enable you to customize your bridge officers even more than what they already are, and kind of give you some more freedom on your build. They are, as I understand it, there are going to be limitations on that. Like certain traits are just not going to be usable because they think if you have an entire bridge crew that has that trait, you'll break the game. So Augie actually did a very good video on that. So if you want to know more, go see Augie's video, and there you go. In addition to the BOF upgrades, they are also adding new items to all fleet holdings. This is going to include things like very rare DOFs, rare Admiralty ships, maybe some new clothing options. They're trying, as I understand it, they're using this as kind of a deal sync. So we'll see if it helps.
They're also a big part of this is the embassy is getting superior Romulan operatives for the other spec. So once this goes in, the embassy will have some science superior Romulan operatives and some engineer Romulan operatives. So you'll be able to fill out those other station slots on your ships with all superior Romulan operatives if that's what you've been wanting to do. So the galaxy also is going back to red alert. Yes, again. Starting tomorrow, because the current event is ending in what, hours?
Yeah,
13
hours.
hours 44 minutes. So if you need one completion, get it now. Otherwise you'll have to buy out to get the reward. But yeah, so for the Galaxy Goes to Red Alert, it's going to, I believe it's only going to take 14 completions to get your reward. I didn't look to see if they updated it. Initial post said 10 completions, but you only have 7 days to do it. Because it's going to go from September 6th to September 13th.
So probably 4.
So probably 4. And then you'll get one ultimate tech upgrade and one specialization point for doing it.
Also, tomorrow, we are starting up a Temporal Agent Recruit event. This will run from 9/6 to 10/4. They are changing the goals and rewards. We do not know what those goals and rewards are going to be. Log in tomorrow and find out. We do know that any Temporal Agent recruits that you already have will be updated as well. So you don't have to make a new one if you already have one. Also, if any of the new goals include things that you have already completed, those will be given to you post actively. You can just log in and claim them and be good to go.
And as normal, this time of the year, Star Trek Day is coming. September 8th, 1966 was when the first episode of the original series aired. And as normal, STO likes to do things special during that time. So starting on the 6th and until the 19th, they will be bringing back the Ship Museum, which will have all the various ships from the shows. They will have the museum at Earth Space Dock and also at DS9, so you can get to the ships no matter which faction you're at or playing. And there's a special accolade if you go and interact with all of the ships. They will give you a sound clip from the show, something notable. Kind of get those reminiscent feelings going from watching the shows. I encourage you to at the very least, go through the museum thing and interact with all the ships once. Um, I know yeah, it gets you a title, which is nice, and an accolade, but some people that doesn't matter. I still think the just interacting with them once kind of cool. But also because of Star Trek Day, they never announce it until it happens. They I'm saying keep your eyes open and watch for these 1 day only free items. Sometimes during Star Trek Day, they will go, "Hey, today there's a special in the promotion tab. Go and claim," and it'll be like the torn shirt from TOS, or stuff like that. They sometimes give. I think they've given out a ship test, but that's not guaranteed. They don't always do that.
We'll see. I, the sky's the limit. They can do what they want. So we'll see. It is tradition, but who knows? All right, so we are ready to move on to our primary target. Uh, we are going to talk about how to create a spam bar. And with my screen up, is my screen up? That's a good question.
I
Can you
see your
put my screen up
game
real
right
quick?
now. You'd have to switch, and I could.
Not that one. I'm talking about the game. Can you make me primary real quick?
I guess.
I know. I'm putting you to work. Okay. So, as you can see my bar down here, if I press one button here, it will, my second bar there just completely loaded up. And then if I press my other button, my top bar will load up. Now it is multiple presses to get that effect, but it's basically one button. All my buffs are active. All my attacks are ready to go. So that's what we're talking about when we say a spam bar. Basically, you just click it until you're done. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. Now, first things first, I need to switch what screen I am sharing so you guys can actually see this. Let me find it. Okay, you can grab that screen now, Grebog. Okay, so yes, that's a text screen. So here's what I did. And this is not the only way to do this. We're going to give you two methods. But there is a command in game that's slash bind underscore save underscore file. And then you give a space and you name the file. I went with spacebind.txt. Then you take that, you open it up with a file with a text editor like Word or Word Perfect or whatever you use, and you can adjust what's in there. Now, what you're seeing here is the plus tray exec by tray 1 1 separated by $2 and then another instance of that. What that is doing is the trays are one less. So if you do tray by X tray or whatever that is, since I'm not looking at it right now, and you want to do this ability, which is the ability in row one, number one, you would put that down as 0 space 0 because you subtract one from that, and it would be row one space one. So if you want one bar to control multiple things in the same row or even on different rows, you just line it up, and again, it's the plus tray exec by tray. You do 0 0 0 0 1 0 2, and that would control row one items number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you can go from there. I put 8 on each one just because I didn't want the whole row. So I have two spam bars. One controls row 1 through 8, and the other one controls row 2, 1 through 8. And then everything else is still I select it myself because I didn't want it on the spam bar. That's how I'm doing it. You could technically have everything on your entire bar anywhere automatically activate with the spam bar. Again, multiple presses for multiple abilities. Okay. So anyway, after you edit it and you save it with the text editor, then you go back into the game and you use the command slash bind underscore load underscore file space and give the file name, which again, in my case, I did space bind.txt. And then it would load it for that character. Two things about that. You are going to have to load that individually for each character that you want to use that particular bind. That being said, you could also create different binds for every character. You also need to separate out your space binds and your ground binds per character. So there's a lot into that. With me, I'm just doing it the same on both space and ground for all of my characters. It just makes it way easier. In essence, each character now plays the same, which sure, it's a little boring, but hey, it kind of works. Um, Now, if you for the actual script commands, there is a ton of them. So you can do all different things with these spam bars. I went very simple, which is just I'm going to throw it on my bar, and boom, there we go. Um, you can do it different ways. You can give different commands. You can find a list of all those commands by doing a Google search for STO Keybinds. We will have the link also in our show notes, but I'm going to read it off as well. It's http://sto.fandom.com/wiki/guide:_keybinds. There you go. You can find a list of any of the scripts you want in there. The only other thing I want to point out, and then I'm going to pass this on to Grebog to show you arguably an easier way to do this. Um, In game, oh, let me switch my screen back over too. Let's do that real quick. Okay. So the other thing you can do just to get yourself started on this is in game, you want to go to your settings, to your options, and then go over to your keybinds. And what you're going to do is whatever you want your spam bar to be, make sure it is in here somewhere. For example, if you want it to be fire phasers, then put your space bar or whatever you want your spam bar to be as fire phasers. Then save the text file. And then when you open up the text file, you should be able to read in there and find where it says fire all phasers. And that's going to be your spacebar because it's not always going to be listed as spacebar. It'll have some sort of alphanumeric code that represents spacebar. Now you can change that according to the website I gave you. You can change that and just put it in there as spacebar or mouse 3 or 4 or whatever. But I had some difficulty doing it that way. So for me, it was easier to set it in here, export it, and then edit it outside of here, save it, load it back in. That's the way I handled it. So, Grebog, you are welcome to take the reins here and show them how to use that program.
Okay. Yes, here we're going to my desktop, which. Oh, right. Hide most. Well, the text files are amazing. Everything. There's a program that is called STO Keybinds. It is a very simple and easy program. Well, we'll put the link in the show notes. But it makes things a lot easier. I can load up if you've already have a keybind file. You can load it up, and it will read it and tell you what everything is and what it means. If you don't, you can create one. And so I already have one, but I'm going to go ahead and create one just to show you what I want to do. So here's the key. Let's call that was for creating a new set. I don't want to do that. Uh, oh, here I want to add a key.
They
Um,
want you to maximize the program.
I don't know that that
Yes.
helps. It doesn't scale. This is a very
Oh, it doesn't scale. Okay, then.
that is why I didn't bother maximizing. I guess what I can do, let me unlock this. I can oh, no, not that button. I can do this. I can shrink in, and then I can expand it out so it'll be bigger for everybody. There. So, that's at least bigger for people to see. Um,
Oh yeah, that's better. There you go.
so in here, like, if you wanna create a whole new file, you can do that. I screwed up with the whole I hit add set. You don't really need to add a set, but you can go in here and even tell it specific things, like, there is a lot more in here. The simplest way to do it without having to do it, because like, you could have a ground set and a space set if you really wanted, but I would go with 2 separate files because of how you have to run the command to get the command to work. So here I have a new key. I need to tell it what key I want, which is in this drop down up here, and you can see there's pretty much every key under the. There is even if you have an Xbox controller that you have connected or any kind of game controller, I think will technically work under the Xbox controller. You can tell it to use the controller button to do certain things. So you could literally put your spam thing onto a controller. You could move it if you're going to want to play with a controller. This might make it easier for you to do it. But we're not going to go there. We just want to get to spacebar because a lot of people love using spacebar. So spacebar is the first thing, and then we want activities, and that is just this plus here as an activity. We don't have anything set up yet, and then you have the entire list of all kinds of activities that you can do. And there are things in here like, you can change your frame rate if you really want to, but, typically, I look for, like, fire all weapons. That's a good one to put in. You can add another activity. Let's say I wanna do one of the control bars, one of this do a spam. I can come in here, I know it's there. Where are the bars? Finding the things is always it was harder for me than it was, well, you know. 'Cause they're in the list, you just have to find everything. Uh, I also hold up, I walked myself through with a video. It may be easier for me to pull up my file to show you. I'm gonna just open my file and then I know where things are better in it. So I have here space bar tray 9 and 10. So in the space bar I have, which if you go to, I guess it's execute. You can do in the execute, you got full tray, partial tray, lot on tray. So you can pick either a single button. So if you have like I only have this one ability I want to add in that is on tray 3, slot 9. You can do that. Um I have set up on mine in mine execute full tray and for tray 9 and tray 10, which is why in game you see on the side. It is I have, 9 and 10 separated, and it's sort of, so I can monitor the firing of the executing of those trays. But like I said, you can if there is in the keybind settings in game, there is something in here that can do it as well. And then there are a bunch of extra stuff in here because you could go into, like I said, there's frame rate stuff in here. There's certain other, yeah, like You can add in straight. I don't know that you'd want to add in a lot of this to some of it, like strafe, walk, run, roll. But you could technically add a keybind if you want to have something that I roll every time, and then get rid of the rolling off of double tapping right, double tapping left, double tapping forward or back. I know a lot of people don't like to have the double tap to make you roll. This is a way you could get rid of that option and then put roll on another button, so you roll when you want. But yeah, that's you can even always have one button. You always loot roll need. One button, just a loot roll need on it, if that's what you want. But yeah, there is all kinds of settings. You can choose. But let's say, well here, let me I don't know how to clear.
You could also have that in there with your weapons. So if you wanted to fire all weapons and loot,
Yeah.
and need on loot, you could have that as a one button press, which
Yep.
is actually kind of cool.
So, like, if you see here, once you decide execute full tray, it will then just ask you what tray. If I were to let me add another action, and let's say I want to execute, because I talked about the partial tray or a slot. Let's do slot. So here it asks what tray, and then what slot. So I mean, there's all kinds of things. And if you're like, oh wait, I don't want that, click the minus and it's gone. This is priority driven. Things on the top end of the list are higher priority than things on the bottom of the list. They do have this green on the side here to try to help you realize that, and you can shift things up and down as needed. Um, so if you also notice my 9 and 10 spam bar setup, I also have distribute shield power, and I have fire all weapons. And I put the fire all weapons after doing the execute trace. But once you are done, you can. I highly recommend saving the file. It will create a special KBF file. I don't know what. I looked at those. And yeah. And then once that's done, you can even then see here. Maybe I have to create the file, save it. Well, here I will save it as something else. Because I'm once you do that, then we want to create a bind file, and it will create a whole new file. And it creates the name and everything. It gives you the command that you're going to need to do to copy into STO, which is like the slash bind file, and then where your location is. You can just click that copy to clipboard, hop into game, and then go into the editor, like your thing, text chat here, and then just paste it. So you don't have to make sure you know where everything. It creates everything for you. You don't
Which
have to
means you
worry
don't.
about $ underscore rabbit in a hat, whatever else.
It certainly makes it easier. I will give you that.
That, but I mean, if you use this program, one thing I would recommend is, well, yes, you can always tell it to create bind file, and to get the command back. However, what I've done is I just copy and pasted the command that it created into a document that I have, that when I go from one tune to another, if I just want to use the same spam bar setup, I just copy and paste the command into that, from the text file into while I'm in game. So that way I don't have to recreate yet another keybind file. Yeah. And I haven't delved into the key sets. I know a lot of this they have some. I think this is basically trying to make it easier for you. Like, here's some that everyone use, and yeah, I was like, I wish they made it simpler to find a way to clean it up. The only way I know to is to close it out and start it back up again.
Well, it's a very simple program, so
But let's
I'm
say
I'm not surprised.
I want to add a new key. Let's do one for ground here. Um, Spacebar's fine. Let's go find the spacebar. Okay, now we want to add an action. I don't know that I want to do an entire tray for an execute. So let's do a partial, which is actually kind of what Nikodas has done with when he was describing what he's done. Um, this does still let you go to 10, even though I guess I don't. And on ground, you only go to 3. That is something to make sure you note. And let's just say 1 to 5. We're going to take half the bar as the spam. And that's all I had to do. Let's see. Let's go ahead and add another action. Because let's go ahead and do my ground fire ability. Uh, maybe. Focus target. No, no. I guess that could be
Yeah,
bad using spacebar because it's also jump.
the bars, um, you have control of your AI. You can do that in game. So if you want to move bars or have extra bars show up in different places, you can do that all from within STO. F12, I believe.
Anything that pulls up the UI, like
Yeah,
F12,
we'll pull that up.
you can also go into just hit exit or escape and hit the rearrange HUD. If you notice, I could delete this and then recreate it, but before, let's go ahead and delete it. Why not? So here's down here's my normal bar setup. I
Your
hit
screen is still oversized.
well here. Let's go back to a normal. Uh, Come on. There we go. I'm now showing just game. Okay, so in here, if you see how like it has the new, this is where your personal trays are. If you click the new, it automatically defaults by creating it over on the side. And then from there you can tell it if you want. It defaults, I think, to 3 and 4, or maybe it was 4 and 5. I can't remember. But you can switch what bars it looks at. I switched the bars to my spam bar so I can kind of monitor. Um, the spam bars, when you do an entire tray, it will start on the left or 1, slot 1, and goes all across to slot 0. So anything which when you put it to the side when it's up and down like this, slot 1 is all the way at the top and is all the way at the bottom. So it will start at the top and work its way down. And it will alternate the bars on doing that. If there's anything in the bar slot. Yeah, that's keybind files. And you can get like there's keybinds out there to get rid of text overlay or like graphics and game like yeah. There is all kinds of overlays that you can or keybind files that you can create to do all kinds of interesting things. Like I have one here I need to copy into space because I'm pretty sure I screwed up by copying the command to bind it to ground. Why it wasn't working the other day. So now I have an F9 keybind that will let me get rid of a lot of visuals in space. Anyone have questions? There's a lot to this, and there's a lot we could technically go over. The program takes some tinkering, I would say, in my honest opinion. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not that bad. And it makes it, like I said, it makes it simple with the fact that it creates the files for you. You don't have to worry about spacing, special characters. What does the spacebar really mean in hex code?
Wh- when I first went to make my spam bar, I did download that program. I found it almost overwhelming. So I ended up leaving that behind and I did it manually, following the commands. That said, now having seen you do this and run through this, I feel like I would have a better handle on it. And I'm going to go try it again when we're done here because it does things better than what I think I did it manually. So I'm going to reevaluate and I'm going to try it out again here in the next couple days.
Well, plus it has a lot of the options for keybinds, things that you may never have thought of in its list of activities that you can do. Like I had no clue I could do frame rate stuff. What? You know? But
Yeah, and the removal, the ability to remove VFX stuff is handy for taking screenshots and whatnot.
well, I don't know that there's an easy way to do that here. I got a copy from someone put together that special keybind file. I can post a copy of what I have into and probably the link to who the creator of it, so that way give them credit for what they've done, because I did not come up with that keybind file. I'm
We've
just using it.
Yeah, that's fine. Credit where credit is due, man. We do have, 15 or 20 minutes left on our stream. Let's go show off these binds real quick. Unless there
Sure.
was anything else you needed to go over.
Go fight win.
Okay, then. I'll go ahead and queue us up for the event. We'll do ground and space one at a time.
Yes, I want to watch his.
I am still streaming, right? I got a woo woo, by
Yes,
the way.
because Discord's trying to be helpful. Like, hey, we noticed that his screen isn't the main screen, so we're gonna pause you watching it for now because it takes up resources.
Right.
Thanks, Discord. You're helping me.
I would point out that doing it manually, I also don't get the left to right activation that you were talking about. Mine seems to start at both ends and work its way towards the middle, where yours goes left to right. So that might be a feature of that program as well.
Might be. It does
Oh,
make it easy for me to plan. Like, I want to trigger emergency beam or emergency weapon power, whatever, and before I hit my beam overload, because I want to do as much damage as I can. Let's see here.
Welcome to the Gamma
Yep.
Hydra training. In this
And I will be the demonstration of what you won't see.
what are you in right now?
I'm in my Squiddy.
Well,
Yeah,
here I
see
can
you.
test
You're-
out to
it
see.
threw you out ahead of us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still showing me my stuff. This is
There
supposed to be
are
one
some
of the.
things you'll still see in it. But wait till I go squid.
I may have botched that keybind file.
Out of all tier 6. We have struck a gravitic
Your
mine
F9
and
thing?
have lost all power.
Yeah.
Our hull is penetrated and we have sustained many casualties.
And I think they both are botched. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm seeing your pink swirl.
Yeah, I didn't try to turn anything off yet.
Go ahead and hit the F9 then, and
I-
as soon as we get a break, it'll happen.
I do not have mine set up to
The
do
next
that
wave is incoming.
yet. I will have to play with that later.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, that could be painful. Because you can't get out of the way.
Turn. Whew.
I was trying to get out of combat, so F9 would trigger whatnot, and
He's gonna shoot again.
The next wave is incoming.
And now he's gone.
if only I could cloak. See, that's what I probably need to do for testing, is have a ship I can cloak on. Because
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
that would be-
pop out of combat, so you can... Or I can just die?
That would work.
Wow. The carrier there
Get
is
ready
actually
for
doing
another
stuff
wave.
really good. A little nuts. Where'd the Kobayashi Maru go? Oh, somebody was saying, you know, when we do this for fun or whatever, when we're going to try and get to, you know, rank 1000 or whatever, somebody said if you bring in the device Kobayashi Maru and launch it, the enemy ships will target it instead of the one flying around.
Get ready for another wave.
Simple name target breaks it. Nice.
Yeah.
Technically,
apparently so.
The
I have a
weapon
Kobayashi
recharger
Maru
fix
out here
is
somewhere, I
active.
think.
Yeah, I just saw a thing on the screen, hit someone with it from it. Ew, they put one of their poo-poos on me.
They're dead though, so we're good.
Get ready
Yeah,
for another
I just did
wave.
one of these a few
Enemy
minutes
assault
ago.
incoming.
It was
Survive the
freeze
onslaught.
Enemy
Oh,
assault!
man. Yeah, well, it's the last one. We just gotta blow them up and then live. Whew. The spheres you gotta watch out for, they actually hit harder than the cubes do.
Oh, that's because they warp more. They're a lot closer to you.
Yeah.
I can't see really anything what's going on, because everything's flashing and... Hey, look, I'm dead.
I just keep shooting and watching stuff blow up.
I'm just hitting my spam bar and, you know, watching them blow up.
Bluey. Our Kobayashi Maru is still at 100% health. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, that's because the squid heals.
Oh, that's true. That's I forgot about that.
The tentacles touch and heal. Ramen.
That and also... If it's doing the simple name replace, and
Heads up. Another
enemies
wave
are
is coming your way.
targeting
All right, everyone.
my
Simulate.
device, Kobayashi Maru, then it's actually adding in more... Yeah, they're targeting the wrong one.
50-50 chance.
All right, guys, go ahead and leave, and I will re-invite, and we'll do ground. And Mem, do you have a joke for us today?
Yeah, yes. Hold on. What do you call a clever, socially awkward, bisexual hippie with fancy neckwear who streams Star Trek?
You know, I was gonna try to repeat that, but no. What do you call it?
A shy, wry, bi guy in a fly tie and tie-dye watching sci-fi on Wi-Fi.
That was quite a mouthful.
Yes.
All right, queuing us up for ground. So on the space, and again, I'm going to revisit this, but on the space map, I have mouse button 4 to do my attack setup, my attack boosters, or my attack modes, I guess I should say, like torpedo spread and whatnot. That's set to a mouse button. and then the actual buffs and the cooldown reducers are set to my spacebar. I have fire all weapons, and these two little keys down here set to my mouse button number 5.
Why is it not showing your
Wee woo.
Oh, it's not showing. Oops, I guess I just talked them through that for nothing. Anyway, so I added 2 extra little keys, and it depends on the build that I'm doing as to what I put in there. It's row 4, 9, and 10. I have that on the same thing that does my fire all weapons and my shield distribution. So I hit that button a lot just to make sure I keep firing and whatnot. And in this case on Katis here, it's 2 extra buffs. It's Focus Frenzy and Fire on my mark. But like on my Ice Princess, I had her Gravity Well on there and her primary ice attack, which is a console that was on there. So I changed that up per character, but those 2 extra keys just to have something else in there with the fire all weapons and distribution. On ground, I do not have anything set to space because I like having space as the jump. So I set it up just to those 2 mouse buttons, and one of them controls my my primary attack and row number 2, and the other one controls my secondary attack and row number 3. Now there sometimes, as it's buffing me, there is a delay on my weapon hits, so I might have to revisit that. I've kind of been considering that anyway. But as you can see, once I'm fully buffed, my weapon just melts stuff. Now this is the Shaxx portable phaser cannon, which tends to be a very powerful weapon anyway. But fully buffed, I regularly deal over 2,000 damage per hit. Kind of an impressive smack. And then the second button does a lot of my summons. Like there's going to be my little shuttlecraft. Sometimes my dinosaur will be on there. My extra crew members from security escort. Things that take a little bit longer, I will put down there for that. 24-24, that's a big hit.
Make ready, warriors. The lightning round begins now.
What about you, Grebog? What's your spam? How do you handle your spam bar on the ground? Or do you
I
use one on
haven't
the
really
ground?
done one yet for ground because some of it's very dependent upon what's around me, like balls of lightning.
Now we shall see how you fare against our enemy.
Very frightening.
I got paralyzed over here.
I mean, I could put all my ground kit module effects into a bar, and I've debated it. I didn't know how well that would benefit.
I kind of try to break it up like I do in space. I have one bar that's all boosts. So like I've got, target optics and rallying cry and that sort of stuff, anything that boosts damage. And then my second bar deals a lot more with like summoning pets, summoning helpers, summoning lightning. I have my Sompex Call Lightning ability on there. Because I use the secondary fire mode a lot less. So, the primary fire mode is spam, so I want all the damage buffs, and then the secondary is not spammed as much, so I do the longer cooldown or the summoning abilities on there. That's the way I handle it.
Fighters, prepare yourselves. It is time for the hazard round.
Hazard round.
Yep, I gotta get out of the water.
Uh-oh. That was a whirlpool.
And there's the beams of death.
It would seem a bigger challenge is in order. So be it.
When did
Nice.
they let Spider-Man villains in? It's the Rhino.
And they're down. which I believe means we're done.
Yep.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Cease
So there's your
hostility.
spam bar. If you have any questions, feel free to
Now
look us up
complete.
online, hit
fought
us up,
with honor,
send an email,
despite the odds.
find us in game,
I look
whatever
forward to
works
what-
for you.
And I'm not the only person that has done videos on we're not the first people to cover the STO Keybind program. We probably won't be the last. So I mean, if you need help, YouTube, also, yeah, you could even reach out to me if you really need some help. I would be willing to help people get their keybinds set up with that program.
Yeah, absolutely. I still need to play with it more, but I'm willing to learn. We can make that happen. All right, so the fleet status update. Go for it, Grebog.
We have a fleet and it's doing well. Okay, I guess as an officer I can do this. We are still moving along nicely with the colony. As you can see, we have some new projects in the colony right now, which means we timed out all the some of the older ones, which yeah, we're still edging forward to that end. Don't like it's a big experience pool, which is why it's every step is if we were to do it every day, get it done every day, the renewable energy tier would be done in 36 days. We have 36 more projects to do. So, and then not far behind is the morale tier 4. And then after that, the infrastructure. So, I mean, we're just, I would say we'll be done with some of these by the end of before the end of the year. Some of them closer to the end of the year. That's my guess. We might be able to have the whole colony done by the end of the year, but I would say I'm pretty sure we'll have 2 of the tiers done by the end of the year for sure. As for KDF, we are almost done with the dilithium mine. We also are about to trigger big project for pushing the starbase to tier 2. So that's a pretty big step there. We're moving along. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm eager to get that Lucari scout ship.
It is a good
Really,
ship.
me too. I've actually got my Ice Princess, I think, would work well on that ship. All right, so next week we are going to go back to our new player challenge characters, and we'll go over what that means next week. And we're going to be working on some endeavors. So we're gonna play on the challenge characters, but we're going to be working on endeavors, and we'll explain why and what's going on with that. So that's next Monday. This coming Thursday, we will have our regularly scheduled fun night, and you do not have to be part of the fleet to join in on that. In the past, if we get more than 5 people, we will split into 2 groups and keep going. If we get as many as 10, who knows? Maybe we'll do some private 10 person matches, 5 versus 5.
Do some
see what
competitive
happens.
maps. That could be
Yeah,
fun.
maybe. We'll see how that goes. We also have a thing at some point in time, if we get enough people, we got a thing we would like to do on the colony world, and we have talked about going into the arena for Kobayashi Maru or the arena of Sompak and just seeing how high we can get. So there is that as well. I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay, well then, as always, I will see you out there.
If it harms no one, do it. Protect the weak from the strong.
Live long and prosper, everybody.